Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It was a warm day like this when I first visited this cemetery in June 1998. There was no one there. All I saw were 865 grey headstones. Sometimes it said in Cyrillic letters, Неизвестный советский воин, unknown Soviet soldier. And sometimes the gravestones mentioned a name. Amayak Sakharyan, Babish Babayev, Leonid Ratinsky, Adilkhan Tumarbayev, Alexei Andreev. The grass was cut and the stones were clean. But for whom, I wondered, because no one was there and hardly anyone ever came to visit. It was a forgotten place. These 865 war victims from the Soviet Union had not been identified. None of their families had been traced and informed that their beloved husband, father, or grandfather had been buried here. There were no flowers on the graves, no photos of soldiers next to the stones. There were no television crews filming, no lessons given on school, and no ministers talking about this place or visiting it. How different is the situation now? We are glad that the local communities of Leusden and Amersfoort, as well as many other people, have embraced our initiative of grave adoption. Almost 500 soldiers have now been adopted. A week ago, once again, we put flowers on all adopted graves, and we were helped by school children. Even though not all soldiers have been adopted yet, the board of the Stichting Russisch Ereveld, Fond Sovietske Polislavy, has decided that next year we will put flowers on all graves. This year again we put photos on the graves. When you take a minute to look at these pictures, you no longer see stones, you see human beings, victims of that horrible war. On Christmas Eve, almost 100 people helped us putting candles on all graves. For the first time ever. Okay, the wind was a little bit too enthusiastic for our candles, as it kept blowing and we kept lighting the candles, and the wind kept blowing and we kept lighting the candles. We will arrange better candles this year, or better weather. On April 9, early in the morning, more than 200 people placed candles at the Kudry's monument, at the execution place of 77 Soviet soldiers just behind Kamp Amersfoort. We were helped again by 40 other school children, another successful example of our attempts to involve young people. The ceremony was broadcast on Russian and Uzbek national television channels, so it reached many millions of people. Most importantly, after decades of searching, the families of 206 soldiers have now been traced. They have been informed that their husband, father or grandfather has been buried here. Among them, the relatives of Sakharyan, Babayev, Ratinsky, Tumarbayev, and Alexei Andreev. This week, Irina Chernyakova visited the grave of her grandfather for the first time. Only recently did she hear that Alexei Andreev was no longer missing in action. Пропавший без вести. I told her that he had been buried here, in row 8, grave number 686. Thanks to sponsors of our foundation, this week she could visit her grandfather's grave. And at his grave, she said that she felt the pain of not knowing where he was, leaving her body. She felt liberated, finally. Once again, Russian TV was present, and since Irina and I have been shown on the news, I have received hundreds of responses from viewers, many of them asking whether their grandfather had been buried here as well. And when our foreign minister visited the Kremlin recently, he mentioned that Dutch people care about the graves of Soviet soldiers. He was talking about us, about these graves, about these soldiers. And only a couple of days ago, on May 4th, our Dodenherdenking, Vice Prime Minister Hugo de Jonge walked on this same path, paying his respects to the victims of war buried here, together with almost 2,000 people. And today, so many of you gathered here to commemorate these soldiers and all the others who perished in this horrible war. So what I want to say is this: these 865 soldiers are no longer forgotten. They are remembered by all of us. And together we hope to bring a little bit of light to the world, like we did with the candles on April 9th and on Christmas Eve. And like we hope to do in February, when, if we can get enough financial support, we will organize Light, Licht, audio performances, audio theater on this cemetery. We hope to see you on April 9th and on Christmas Eve, December 24th. And we hope to see you in February, because we will not forget, and we hope you will not forget either. Thank you.
Thank you.